Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm Chandler Noyce, the chairman of the local triad committee, and I have competition.
What's he saying?
I'm going to introduce everybody, and then we will continue with the program. We have from the Sheriff's Department, the K-9 Division, Sergeants Gary Mastrangelo with his partner Chico, and Steve, also Sergeant Steve Sokolis with Doza. And let's give those four a hand. We also have sitting in the front row Deputy Mo Pratt and his intern. Would you like to stand up and take a row? And we have representing our local police department, Dave Thompson and
Mike Godu.
Mike Godu. Yes, I know who he was. And this is being filmed by Channel 9 for your enjoyment in the home. So enjoy the program, and afterwards we'll be serving light refreshments. I'll turn this over to the K-9 Division.
You sure?
Which one is which?
Okay, okay, I'll tell you in 1 second. Johnny, bored. He said, I'm Gary Mastrangelo. This is Steve Chikalis. This is Chico. This one's Chico. That's what you meant, right? Chico, and that's Dozer. Chico is my third dog. He's on his first dog. Chico's 18-month-old shepherd. He's from the Czech Republic. I've been with the Sheriff's Department almost 20 years, 19 and a half years. So he's been, 6, 7 years, 8 years? No, you've been on,
I've been on the Sheriff's Department for almost 14 years.
14 years. I got mixed up with the dog. The dog's too short. We have 18 dogs, and it's always changing. We have 2 dogs in the academy right now, so it gets confusing after a while. So you just have to bear with me there. As I was saying, Chico's my third dog. Steve's on his first dog. So he'll probably retiring in a couple of years. So Steve will be getting another dog. Usually, on the average, they work till about 8 years old. But to get into what we do, when we first get hired, you work at the Sheriff's Department, you have to work now, obviously, some of you probably been to tour there, I would imagine. You've been through there. It's a correctional facility, essentially with correctional officers. You have to work, I think, a minimum, I think it's at least 3 years now, is that correct? 3 years as a correctional officer, where you start out, you learn the fundamentals of the job, because we are corrections. So to get onto a K-9 unit, a specialized unit like we have, you have to work at least 3 years inside a housing unit, work in the facility itself. Essentially, you're learning the fundamentals of the job. Just like any other job, whatever you do, you basically have to learn how things work from the basics and work your way up to gain the experience. After that time is put in the department, and the listing goes up every year. The sheriff has a list every year where they conduct outside interviews. They always keep a list, a yearly list for K-9, so they can pull from that list. If someone retires, someone injured, or someone leaves a K-9 unit or goes to a different job, they can pull from that list. So when that goes up, people can interview if they want to be on K-9. There's outside agencies that do conduct the interviews, other K-9 handlers from different departments, agencies. Usually it might be the Boston Police, State Police, or maybe a experienced handler from another town or city. Amesbury, for example, they have a K-9, so they use Nichols from Amesbury. But anyway, when you go through that round of interviews, they interview you, you're put on a list. Depending how well you do, if there's a position open, you get chosen for the K-9 unit. And my dog here, that I just got, Chico, he's 18 months old. He just finished the academy July 20th. You get your dog, he's from the Czech Republic, that's where they got him from. We get a lot of the dogs imported because they tend to be healthier dogs. The dogs overseas in Europe tend to be bred as a better work dog. Usually they have less health problems, but mainly that's what a lot of the dogs, particularly German Shepherds, are bred for, that purpose, is working. So if they can, they'll get a lot of the dogs over there. His dog's from Germany. We get other dogs from Hungary. We use other dogs besides Shepherds, Belgian Malinois. I don't know if you're familiar with those. Dutch, obviously, they're like a thin-haired dog. High energy dogs. Usually go to experienced handlers. There's a lot of work. But we use a variety of dogs. We also have our lieutenant. She has a Labrador, which is a passive drug dog. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. When we get the dogs, we bond with the dogs for a couple of weeks, if we can, before we go to the academy. We go through the Boston Police Academy, K-9 Academy, which is anywhere from 14 to 16 weeks, depending. You can all hear me, right? Okay. Depending on how many people might be in that academy. There's an academy going through right now. There's usually no more than 10. They allot it to no more than 10 handlers. So in this academy now, we have two. We have a brand new handler going through, and one of my lieutenants, he's working on. He's on his third dog. And there's 8 people in this academy. It's like Salem Police have 3 dogs. They're starting a brand new canine unit. We have 2 dogs. Andover Police, 3,
Couple
5,
comments
6.
from New Hampshire.
From New Hampshire. I'm not where the others are from. So we work with different agencies. And throughout that 14 weeks, the dogs work on tracking, building searches, area searches, articles searching for usually guns, knives, something that they use to be in the commission of a crime. The dogs need to be trained to find that. The police make an arrest, like if the Georgetown police make an arrest, for example, it's a gun, a crime that's committed with a gun, maybe it's a robbery, something like that. A suspect running through the woods. I already forgot his name over there. I'm sorry about that. Thompson, excuse me. Thompson makes an arrest. They have a suspect, and they think the suspect might have ran through the woods, and they know he had a gun, and they ran through the woods. It's going to be hard for him to find it. Well, the dog's nose, their senses, the dog's able to find and track that gun down. And how they're trained is he's trained to find that article. I can't do it here. We could show you outside if we were outside. But he's trained to find that with his nose, because obviously the nose of a dog, a canine, is at least 1,000 times stronger than humans. It's all a guess, but that just puts it in perspective how strong it is. So they're able to differentiate the smell, and they can find that weapon. And whether it's a gun knife, gun shell, or a credit card wallet, whatever it may be, they can differentiate the odor. But when he finds it, he's trained to sit down and lay right at that article. That way he doesn't touch it, so if they need to extract maybe fingerprints or something from that item, they can do that without it getting ruined or any of the evidence tampered. But the dog's also trained for obedience, which I'm going to show you in a few minutes. But after that 14 to 16 weeks, we have to certify, and once we're certified, we certify for tracking. Like when I certified with him, I had to do a close to a mile track at 11:30 at night in Franklin. Basically, this person started tracking point A, went close to a mile, and I had no idea where he went. It just says he was last seen in this area, find him. And if I can't track my dog, I'll show you what we use for a tracking harness. I don't certify. So, but the training is so intense, no one usually doesn't fail. At that point, it's 14, 15 weeks, so your dogs would have been cut from the class a long time ago if he wasn't going to make it. So the dogs are set up when he's actually tracking. It's either missing people, children, like you said, or a felon, someone committed a crime. So they can basically track people. Area searchers looking for someone again. They're certified in that. We have time for 3 minutes where they have to search for the gun. There's 2 guns hidden in a field, maybe about half the size of a football field. And your time, that has to be done in 3 minutes. Basically, just throw them out in the dark. And you have to find those in 3 minutes, and also the obedience articles and those things. Okay, and after that, the dog is a patrol dog. Now, as you know, our main function is working inside we have 2 main facilities. The main facility is in Middleton, which is the correctional facility in the jail. It's actually a mixture of both. A lot of people get confused with that. It's a jail and a house of correction, so inmates that are accused of crime, prisoners, if the police officer make an arrest, someone's arrested for a crime, they make a big deal, they can't make bail. Those are the ones you see in the orange jumpsuits. The ones that are in the tan are the ones that are sentenced. Even though it's a correctional facility in the jail, it's still the same facility. But we keep the dogs in there. We provide security there 24 hours a day. We have at least a minimum of 2 dogs in there. So our main purpose of working with the dogs, we're the only facility that I know of where the dogs work. W. Pratt might know, maybe there's some others, I'm not sure. But we're the only facility I know of where the dogs actually work inside the jail or prison to provide constant security at that close of a range. Usually most dogs are outside because of liability and they worry about that. But to give you perspective, I think Harvard paid, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, the price of the dog they paid. Am I allowed to say that?
You can say.
The price they probably, I think I was told they paid for this dog is about $6,400, $6,400. With his training, once he's done narcotics, he will be valued. Am I boring you? He's work today. It'll be about $10,000. Well, yeah, I just told you he's trained with obedience. Yeah. But we're each assigned our own vehicle, our vehicles out there. Every handler we're assigned. Oh, do you have a quick question?
Yeah, I know that the dogs track to find guns in it.
Yeah.
But you also have the ones that have to find drugs like pot.
Yeah, a dog's are also trained for narcotics because he just finished. We use I say patrol class. It's just basically a generic term of how we describe what the dogs are trained for. We don't patrol like the police patrol, driving, respond to 911 calls, motor vehicles, things like that. When I say patrol, that's just basically slang for saying how he's trained for tracking, building searches, and all that stuff, articles.
I watched some of the cop shows, I mean, where somebody tries to flush stuff down the toilet and the dogs find it, you know,
Yeah,
down the toilet, you know, then they just sniff it out.
yeah, lockup, oh yeah, yeah.
I just-
Well, yeah, hopefully,
just
the
go
next
there
class is in
tonight.
February, so I'll go through the February class, hopefully, if they let me, hopefully they will. So,
Yeah,
if I keep
I
him
just
awake.
know they usually do, so I didn't know.
Sure, warn you. It's just
Yeah,
an
they're
app that
bored,
we have since
so
four.
it's just-
But that's a separate 5-week course. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but when they go through that class, the dogs are trained to smell marijuana, cocaine, heroin. I think he likes the floor.
It's supposed to be
The dogs are
trained
trained to smell marijuana, cocaine, heroin, and derivatives of heroin, oxycontin, ecstasy, which is synthetic. It has a similar smell to heroin. Similar things in it, but then that's technical now. But those are the main things the dogs are trained for, crack cocaine. And they also have to certify when they do those training, but that's a separate course, separate course.
Yeah, I know
Go back.
they used to do it, so when you didn't mention it, I said to this.
Oh, I was gonna get to that, yeah, but we can talk about whatever you want, so I don't want to have to hold your arm up, though. Yeah, we go through the training first, which I said, you know, we certify as patrol, then we do the narcotics after. They want the dogs to work a little while before they go into the narcotics.
Oh, yeah.
Usually they want he's a character, it's funny.
Yeah.
But hey, we provide the security inside the facility. When the inmates go from different housing units, if they go to different programs, obviously there's a lot of programs they go to. There's a lot of, there's over 1,200 inmates there. Like I said, there's different, we obviously have a lot of gang inmates. There's a lot of the inmates that are pre-trial, the inmates are sentenced. They're all mixed together. We don't know who's who. I don't know what crime they're in there for, what they committed, whether, I don't care if they're innocent, guilty, whatever they did. That's not my function. I don't worry about that. Our job when we're in there with the dogs, we're not there to intimidate the inmates. I'm not there to harass them with the dog. I mean, they're going to be intimidated anyway. They all think like we're in there with the dogs to try to get them to fight the inmates and go after people, and that's the furthest from the truth. The last thing they want the dogs to do is to fight anyone when we're in there. Even when there's a fight, or when there's a housing unit where there's 120 inmates, if there's a fight, there's usually only 2 officers per 120 inmates. So if there's a fight, something's going on, we respond with the dogs. We want to make sure that all those inmates return to their cells immediately. And we want whatever altercations going on, whatever fight, whatever's happening, we want to basically end that fight or whatever's going on immediately as possible and separate them and find out what's going on, make sure the officers are safe. And our job is to protect the inmates also from other inmates. That's part of our job. A lot of people don't realize that. So the main function of our dogs is being in that facility, making sure we know where all the inmates are at each time. A lot of times they go from one point to another on an hourly basis, so we keep it constructed so we know where they're going, because a lot of inmates interact out in the yard. By the yard, I mean outside in between the buildings. I use a lot of slang terms, so I'm sorry if you don't know what I'm saying, just yell at me.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
You don't?
Yeah, I said I understand.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
Yeah, I watch a lot
We
of
watch
police-
Lockdown, yeah. Lockout, I mean, whatever. Talk down. But like I said, our job when they're in there, with the dogs, is to make sure that no one gets hurt. We have a lot of civilians that work in that facility. I want to make sure in our programs building, because a lot of these guys, they go to classes, finish to get their GED. Like I said, they work in the kitchen. They have a barber school,
print shop.
and all different things. The idea is to keep them busy. That's what's good about the programs. It's constructive for them, keeps them busy. Hopefully they get something out of it. I mean, but that's getting a counselor, I'm not a counselor, so I don't want to say you act like I'm a counselor. I'm not here for canine. But we want to make sure, basically, everyone's safe. They know they go where they're going. Everyone gets out at the end of the shift, and no one gets hurt. If I have to use a dog, it'll be a last resort. If the dog does bite someone, an inmate or someone else, these dogs aren't owned by this. They're owned by the department. So there's certain laws, there's guidelines. I can't just send this dog to bite someone if I don't like the way someone looks or they're looking at me. I can't use a dog to intimidate someone and go after them. There's criminal liability against me, and there'd be criminal liability against the department if I did that, negligence. I would lose my job, and the department would get sued. So I can't just send a dog to bite someone for any reason that I want. If it has to be a justified reason, we have what's called the use of force policy. We have to take a yearly exam on that. We have to go through training, just like any police department. Everyone has the same thing, use of force. there's certain guidelines, policies, and laws which guide how I can use this dog and what I can use it for. So that's why if someone says, oh, I hope my dog bites someone, to bite someone, they're an idiot, and they haven't been a canine handler very long, and they've never been sued. Because like I said, if he does bite someone, now I'm going to bring life, I better make sure it's justified and it's last resort. He's not trained to kill anyone. That's, a lot of people think the dogs are trained to attack dogs and kill. There's ever been one case where a dog has been accounted for in the death of a person. That was in California, where the person was hiding under a motor vehicle. And he wouldn't come out, and the dog went under there and happened to bite the guy in the neck, and I think he got the jugular vein, and he ended up bleeding to death. I think that's all the training I've had, that's only documented case where someone has died from a dog bite. The dog bites hurt. But anyway, like I said, if I use this dog to bite someone, it has to be well justified. I have to write a very long, extensive report. I'm going to go to Internal Affairs. They're going to have a review board. They're going to review the policies. They're going to look at the cameras. The camera system they have in the facility right now, I think they can probably read the time on my watch. Every single area is covered, probably except the bathrooms. So I'm not going to get away with anything. But I have to be certified, and I have to make sure I know what I'm doing. So as long as that's well justified, I have no other resort. I have to give someone a warning if I'm into it before someone may stops, keeps fighting, or he's going off. So I have to make sure I give that person a warning, which we do. So just to make a long story short, long story short,
He's abusing.
before I use the dog, it has to be well justified, and I can't use them, because if I do, the department can be sued, I can be sued, and I don't want that headache.
So in February, you're gonna be doing the narcotic stuff? You're gonna be training for
The
narcotics?
next house will be February. That's a 5-week course. Yep.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll go through that. We should go through it. Well, it's actually mandatory. We have to go through that unless the dogs can't do it. My first dog, he was trained for narcotics, but he didn't have a lot of drive. The biggest drive they have is a play drive for narcotics, because the dogs search for narcotics, and in their mind, they're really searching for their toy, so it's almost like you're manipulating the dog in his thinking. He always gets the toy as a reward, whatever his favorite toy is. Like I'll show you, it's in my pocket. That's what we do.
If you can wake him up.
Yeah, if I can wake him up. But, you know what, I can keep babbling on here for another half an hour, so maybe I'll show you some obedience right now. He's a beauty, he's a ham. I never get mad at him. The only time I want him to be at immediate attention, I'm letting him get away with this right now, what he's doing, because right now, even though I haven't started the obedience yet, I'm going to start it. That's why I want his full attention. So because, I mean, he doesn't have to be at full attention all the time. I don't want him right here, right here, right here. If he's pulling me once in a while, that's fine. That's just his drive. If he's laying down, that's fine. He's a dog. It's all nothing but positive reinforcement for these dogs. We never hit him. I would never abuse him. If I ever hit him, I'd lose my job. He's my buddy. He's my partner. I protect him as much as he protects me. He's watching Steve because he's probably wants to know what dojo went. They're very inquisitive dogs. If you notice, they're always looking around, especially the shepherds. He's always looking around. He always wants to know what's going on. He's watching him. He knows he's another canine handler, so we don't trust Steve, so it's probably why he's watching. He's probably going to sneak up on me.
He's watching his friend.
But it's always positive
Is it
positive
easy to
reward.
train Chico or
Stand
not?
there so I don't distract them.
Excuse
Is
me?
it easy to train Chico?
No, it's easy. Some dogs are a little more challenged than the others. It all depends on the drive they have. By what I mean when I say the drive is their desire to want to work, or their enthusiasm, I guess is the way of saying it.
Yeah.
But within the first few weeks, if the dogs don't have that ability, they'll wash the dog out, and then they'll get us another dog. Basically, just trade a dog. They won't buy another dog, they'll trade it. They almost have a warranty to work because the amount of money that's invested, the department invests in these dogs. We have 18 dogs? I think we have 18 dogs. So we have a very, very large canine unit. 19, I can't remember the names of all the dogs.
Because Joanne has two.
Oh, 2 dogs, yes, a 19, so we have a very large canine unit.
Yeah.
But remember, our main function, even though we work with our other agencies, mutual aid, things like that, our main function is working in the facilities between Lawrence and Middleton, so.
Do you get to take them home with you?
The dogs go home with us, yep, we have our own vehicle,
Hey, that's
we
good.
just signed our own vehicle.
That
so-
way you can keep them up to date on everything that's going on.
Yep, we have the vet, they go to the vet, everything's paid for, all the veterinary care is paid for by the department, all the food is paid for by the department, we just pick up in the warehouse whenever we need it. They pay for everything, thank God.
Yep. Yeah,
I'll show you some quick obedience before I keep boring with my talking.
Price of animals.
I speak to him in German.
The same price as raising kids.
If you hear what I'm saying, the commands I'm using in German, I'm not fluent in German. A lot of people say, oh, you're so smart, you're fluent in German. He says, no, I maybe use maybe 20 commands. Only because that's where he's from. The same thing with him, it's just easier for that. This is one of the toys I use. Push! Teal. Push! Look. Push! 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 Sit! Glide. I also use hand signals also, in case I'm in a building. Nuts! Sit! 9, sit! Ah! Doesn't always go as planned.
He's anxious for his toy.
Push!
Did you forward me to get me?
Push.
Yeah. You want-
Yeah, push!
I want to play.
Come on. Come on, yeah. Because they're animals, it doesn't always go as planned.
Yeah,
Push.
I know.
Come. Push. Sit. 9. He doesn't get the toy until it's done right. See? Sit. Oh, silver. Push. Nuts. Push. Sit. Okay. I mean, it's just a basic obedience.
He's a good dog.
Sometimes they don't always do everything we want them to do, but you can't get mad at them, you can't kick them, you can't yell at them, because that's not getting anywhere. We,
My toy, I'm not going to get up.
Usually we try to ignore the bad behavior. I'll correct it if I have to. But it's a game for them. All this for a toy. This is a tug toy I use where I can play. It's more interactive than using the ball. I can play tug of war with them. They just love that. Oh, I'm sweating.
I got it.
I guess I
Yeah.
don't want it.
Bring. He always brings it back to me. This house.
That means let go. Leave it back.
Push. You see the other stuff.
Good boy, huh?
Some of the stuff for you. I got my old muzzle.
Oh, it is not working.
This is my old muzzle. I'm sure a lot of you have seen these. The reason we use these for training, if we're going to do crowd control, like we'll be working in Salem coming this month, the 27th and the 31st with our dogs. If there's a large crowd and they need to disperse a crowd without getting someone hurt, we don't want someone to bite someone, we put the muzzles on the dog. This is an old muzzle. We'll put the muzzle on a dog. It's real hard. This has a plate of a piece of metal in here. And the dogs are trained to use, basically push people and butt into them, almost like a wrestler, and push people. And it actually, it hurts when they come after you. But they're not going to bite someone, but it's enough intimidation and it's enough force to move a crowd. Because with these dogs coming at you, of course, a 100-pound dog pushing you and hitting you with that could hurt. So a lot of times we'll use the muzzles if we can, instead of just having the dogs out barking and biting, like you see from the pictures of the 60s, them going crazy and all that, and going after people and biting people. Because then you come down to lawsuits again and all that. You don't always want the dogs just to bite people. You want to just end the disruption, disturbance, whatever it is, as quickly and as peacefully as possible. This is the vest that we get through the Mass Vesta Dog. We all issue these vests. I don't know if any of you have heard of Mass Vesta Dog. It's an organization in every state. Obviously, it's Mass Vesta Dog Mass. It's raised through private donations to, some of you probably might have even given money, I'm sure. It's raised through the public, private organizations, general companies and places like that. It's non-profit. It's about $800 for this vest. It's stab and bulletproof resistant. It lasts, the warranty is 5 years, just like a vest for a real police officer. But they're designed to fit the dogs and offers them protection around his neck and his vital organs. So if I'm out on a certain call, I'm doing a certain thing, I can protect him because I want to protect him as much as myself. So we all get these vests issued. Any police officer, sheriff, anyone that has a working dog in Massachusetts, whether us, state police, any agency, pretty much they all get through Mass Vesta Dog at no cost. So it's pretty good. It's a nice vest. And this is one of the harnesses I use. I have 3 different harnesses. I use this one. If I'm in a certain area, I have a harness I can use that identifies him as a sheriff employee. A lot of people don't realize also, this dog by law is actually an officer. Whether it's a police department, a police canine, or a sheriff's department, the dogs by law are an officer. There are actually laws, if you antagonize, intimidate, or assault a dog, it's on the Mass General laws. So, an offensible arrest, police officer could arrest someone. But anyway, this is a tracking harness I use for him. I can put it looks kind of hard to put on, but it's actually easy. When I put this on him, it goes right over there like that. I can show you how quickly I can put it on without that. As soon as this goes on him, he knows he's doing a track. Like I wouldn't use this for a building search. Well, actually, I would use it for a building search because I live a track now, but you can see that's how fast it goes on him. And then we use a longer harness, which is the 30-foot long harness. Leash, yeah. 5 times longer than this. This is 6 feet. So we use that so it gives the dog free rein. Now, if I was going to do a track, I'd be outside. He'd know to track already, and that gives his range, his nose full range to smell the ground or whatever scent he needs to smell. It's like I'm boring him.
You'll be putting him to sleep again.
Yeah, I know.
He's a beautiful dog.
But he's a good dog. I mean, he's a really good dog. He's a puppy. Like I say, he's not even 2 years old yet. He's still filling out. He was only 72 pounds when I got him. He yawns all the time. It's funny. Good dog. I spent a lot more time with him than my own family. So you can't get mad at him. You just gotta work with them, and as they age and they get more mature. German Shepherds typically take about 3 years to fully mature, so you still got a ways to go. I'm still maturing myself, so yeah. But we're gonna let Steve get his dog in, bring Doja back in. We'll show you some of the bite work we do, the role playing we do. And if you have any questions, we can answer your questions.
Cool.
We'll do that.
You like it? Yeah. You want the other dog? Give
I'll
that.
put Chico in the car. We'll bring him in.
Where did you go?
And bring him back after. Bring.
No, that vest.
Not
He's
me.
gonna carry that out.
That vest on the dog, is that bulletproof vest?
Yeah.
Yep.
Bulletproof and stab.
You want to pass her around so you can see it?
Yeah, like
We
you
might,
say.
might need the muzzle too.
Sure. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
You missed
well,
that.
Hey, that thing is heavy.
But if he's there to push people back, they put it on the doggy's face, on his
If
nose,
you're all heavy, then
and it
you
pushes
can-
people back. Pushes people like that. Step back, like that.
You can tell he's a little more mature, a little more trained, Yeah. a little tighter. About 5. Well trained. This why I have a special collar. He doesn't like this collar.
Is that like a bark collar?
Kind of almost, yeah.
A little zapper?
Yeah. If I didn't have that on him, he'd be barking up a storm.
Flipping out, yeah.
He knows that collar's on.
He'll be barking back and
He's a little bit more of aggressive.
Like, so,
What happens to the dogs when you're finished with them?
wait, so,
The department lets us buy them off for $1.
Oh, so you
So,
keep
yeah,
them
they'll retire with us. We have an option to buy them.
you can keep
Do most people buy them?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, pretty much everybody
Can you
buys
keep
them for
them?
He
$1.
can keep them when he gets too old.
They stay with us.
Policeman dog. Oh, he's getting ready, watch this.
Very eyeing me.
He knows the bite speed.
Oh, yeah, see, he's getting ready, look at him. He knows what he's gotta do.
He's gonna keep him on the lead. Normally we take him off the leash in here, but because the floor is really slippery and their paws, he can't gain any. I'll explain it to him. You can tell. He can't gain any traction. The dog can get hurt too easily. So I'm just gonna walk up to him. Normally he'd send the dog after me, but unless you, I mean, it's up to him. Show one.
We'll just do a
I
little
look like
role
Fred
playing.
Flintstone trying to get the car going. This is role playing. This is one of the ways we train with the dog. This is it's a soft material. It's made of jute. It's a natural fiber. The dogs can bite. They're trained to bite the hold. Usually the upper arm area. That's where they want the dogs to train to bite. The dogs are trained to work off the command. If he's going to give the dog commands, the dog should listen to him. Sometimes they don't always listen.
Sometimes
He
he
will.
listens, but he shouldn't go unless I tell him to go.
Yeah. You know, I'll let you explain. So, you know, I've done that talking. You're probably sick of me.
So we'll just do a basic little role play, and I'll send him to a bite, and we'll release him off the bite, and I'll do a pat down and watch how the dog will stay. And then as soon as he raises his hand to assault me, the dog will go on his own to protect me.
What?
Hey you, come here, show me your hands.
Yeah. Whatever.
Show me your hands. He'll bite you.
Could you really get in there?
The floor's slippery as the
But that's what he does when the madman.
Pretty strong.
I'll find the dog.
Normally when we wear crash pants, I don't have it because you can see. It's like my daughter's in law school. My daughter's in law school, so
Just so you know.
just so you know, if he bites me, hope you have some equity.
Watch what the doggy does. See? That's when that guy went. When he moved too fast, the dog goes right after him.
Oh, nice paws. Nice paws. I give him the sleeve as a rule. What you're showing you is when I push him, he's automatically going to protect him.
At that point, he can go without any commands because he's protecting me.
We always give him the sleeve as a reward at the end. It's a game to him. It's how they train. When we train, we also use a hidden sleeve. And we also, you wear, I can't remember here, it's quite a full fight suit. It's all role playing. It shows if someone's fighting the dog. They'll continue fighting. Very angry. Yeah, keep hanging. I can throw this outside because he's
Yeah,
going
he's
to.
still
Quiet.
doesn't like that sleeve. Because that's what the bad guy does.
He'll keep barking if he sees that.
No difference from the other dog sleeping.
That's pretty much it means rules.
Work for my money.
Yeah, someone's gonna work.
It's a quick synopsis of what we do. Oh, maybe you had some questions I could answer.
Do you only use male dogs?
We only use male dogs. The reason for that is not because females are inferior dogs by any means. Inferior female dogs are great shepherds. They're very
There is
protective.
departments that do use females,
Yeah.
but we don't.
Because we work in a correctional facility, the dog's not neutered to spay unless for a medical reason. So if a female wanted to heat, it'd be disruptive to a male dog. So that's mainly the main reason we use male shepherds.
Besides, men are easier to train.
Yeah, yeah. I get myself in trouble. I'm not getting myself in trouble.
Yeah, stay.
I just passed my ethics test.
Very good.
Oh, you have questions?
Are they all from Germany?
They're all from Germany. My dog is from Czech Republic, which used to be former Czechoslovakia. Now it's it's split up because they couldn't get along. So it's like India or Pakistan. This country's probably next. Germany, Hungary, Czech Republic, Netherlands. Probably mostly European dogs, different areas.
Just because of the training?
Yeah, because basically that's what they're trained and bred for. Yeah, same breed as the Army, I take it. Yeah, same breed, yeah. Sentry dogs. They're all pretty much trained the same. When the dogs retire, they work an average of at least 8 years. They try to retire them now after, I think the sheriff allots for 2 dogs every year. That might be 2 dogs every year. So the 2 oldest dogs, they retire now every year. So they try not to work the dogs past 8 years old for a number of reasons. The dogs get older, they're going to have more health problems, so it's going to actually be more expensive for the department because if something happens, the department pays for it, and then that's your tax money. So we're trying to, we don't want your taxes to go up. So.
He had to bring that up.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's fine.
No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, if they're 8 years old, they try not to work them past that. Then the dogs retire. They live with the handler, and he retires. They'll live with him if he wants them. He has to pay $1. We're trying to get that down to 50 cents. I think that's excessive.
Do you have a...
That's policy, actually $1. I don't think they've actually ever
Do you
charged
have a
it.
retired dog at home?
My dog retired. He prior to him, he only got 2 months retirement. Unfortunately, he developed cancer. Shepherds, cancer seems to be a big thing for shepherds. Labs, cancer's a big thing for a lot of dogs. But he started having really bad seizures,
So you lost
uncontrollable.
him?
So I put him down. My first dog, he had a boy that was in 2004, 2003 is when I got. I get all my times mixed up. I don't know how these politicians remember everything. Watching the bomber. Anyway. Sorry, I keep babbling. My first dog had back surgery. He contracted bacterial, some type of meningitis. Not from the pharmacy that just gave out all those drugs. Bad.
Oh, I know.
But endocarditis, which you get in the heart. Humans get it, they have to have the valve replaced. When the dogs get it, there's nothing they can do for them. That's when they have endocarditis. And so he had a good time 3 weeks after that. So the back surgery went fine, but unfortunately contracted that.
So you don't have a dog at home?
I have my wife has her dog,
Personal.
Bernese Mountain Dog, personal dog, yep. Yep. Actually, best buddies at Funny and Russell. She's actually only 20 weeks old now.
Wow.
When these
Oh,
dogs
two
are-
cats.
When these dogs are home with us, they're kennels.
Yeah.
They're not in the
It's
house
not
running
allowed
around
to
with
be
the
part of the
pets.
family?
They're strictly for work, so they're always
When you're
locked up.
retired though,
They
they
can be part of the
can
immediate
Yeah,
family,
yeah, you can
but
turn
for the
them into a
most part,
family.
they're kenneled
Yeah.
for liability reasons. We have to have a kennel. The kennel's checked. It's certified by the department. If the dogs come inside, like my dog comes inside, if it's really cold, like he's in a kennel inside the
in
house.
a crate.
He doesn't have, he
Yeah, they
won't
sleep
roam
in
the
a
house
crate.
for free, sleep in a crate, yeah.
But
And it's
once
safer
they're-
for the dogs anyway, because I mean, he's young, he'd be getting into everything anyway.
Once they're retired, you can have them up as a
Yeah, once they're
family.
retired, we have to sign a form, the liability, then we own them, and the department is
No longer
exempt
responsible.
from any liability dog, from whatever we do, so.
Yeah.
Because while we have this dog, whatever happens, we're always, the department's gonna be liable for negligence on our part. So we always have to keep that in mind.
Now, if they're in a kennel out there and kids come to see them,
At the house,
yeah.
oh, I'd make sure no one goes near the kennel.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
if I have
Well, if
family or
he's-
cook or something like that.
If he's locked up and he's in the kennel, then if someone comes in the yard that wasn't, invited in.
Oh,
or
I see what you're
something
saying,
like that,
like a
then
neighbor
it's
or
their
someone,
fault,
yeah.
and we wouldn't be liable then, because the dog's locked up.
Right.
It's like if I took him for a walk on a leash, and a stray dog ran up to him and he bit the stray dog, whoever's
Too bad.
dog's not leashed, it's their fault.
Right.
It wouldn't be his fault.
So how do you get him an ice cream at the Dairy Queen? So you're there.
He sits in the car.
Oh,
Poor
I'll
thing.
go to
That's such a
ice
trouble
cream,
taker.
yeah.
Go to
Well, maybe I'll wait for another
drive
ice cream.
through.
Remember the Dairy Queen had to get him a.
Or do the dollar menu. Or go on the dollar menu.
Yeah, dollar
The
menu.
dollar menu, yeah, that's much cheaper.
Dollar menu is finer.
It's all the menu. Even that went up.
Yes.
With the taxes, it's almost $2 now.
I think you wanted to say something worse, didn't you?
Beautiful
I've been harassed as an intern.
last flowers.
I heard you were gonna
She goes to a
speak.
great school.
She's beautiful like gorgeous.
We have a lot of interns that come to the facility where spend time there. Probably looks like any department. I think we have a lot now. They go with different people.
What does an intern do?
Loves it.
He loves it.
Loves it.
He might be able to address that a little bit
Yeah,
better. What does,
explain.
you want to know what the intern does?
Oh,
At the facility.
Oh.
we have, hi, I'm Deputy Pratt, I'm the spokesperson for the department. We have a number of interns that work with us from Salem State, North Shore Community, Endicott, and a few other schools that come with us. The one that we have now is actually, the one that I have in my department is excellent, and her name is Sydney Powers. And I'll let her tell you what she does in the staff department.
City speech.
Speak, get up.
Stand up.
Oh, you're killing me. Okay, well, I'm Sydney, and I work for Mo in staff and research. I guess I run the.
Please.
Oh,
All right, I guess I run the daily reports. We see like who comes in every day, and we send it out. I run like boards of probations, which is just seeing people's criminal record basically. And then we gather the stats on all that, see if people are rearrested or reconvicted like every year and stuff. So that's pretty much
It's
it.
all credits for her school.
Right?
Well, that's up to Mo.
criminal, is it
She's got to
criminal?
sign off on you.
What school,
Are you in criminal law?
Criminal justice major.
Justice, yeah.
What school do you attend?
Endicott College.
Good.
She's a senior in Endicott College.
Yep.
And you get to go on field trips with us? Other people? See that? And you're getting paid for it, right? Not as an
No,
intern.
I don't think there is any paid internships
No.
anywhere anymore. Even the Justice Department, State House, I don't think they
No
I
way.
think you're right. Yeah, they get the credits.
Credits
Yeah.
for
They
that.
get credits though.
So,
Yeah.
you get it
In the
anyway.
DA's office, I don't think you even get paid there, do they?
No.
No.
Yeah, I pay the school for them to let me work for free.
There you go.
Nice job.
Think Dozer's going back up? No?
Well, I think that's it.
Is that it? That's pretty much.
Do we allow the dogs, are we allowed to pet any one of them?
I don't usually know, let people pet them for, it gets
Because
mouthful.
my dog's still young, I'm not allowed to let anyone touch him yet until
I
he's a
just wanted
little
to
bit.
ask.
Yeah, no,
Sorry
no.
about that.
No, we get other dogs we can pat.
Yeah.
The ones we
What's
know.
that dog's name?
His name is Dozer,
Dozer. Like Bull, Dozer.
Bulldog, my daughter named him.
Yeah.
You can change the names of the dogs if you want when we get
You
them.
know that.
Yeah, she came with a different, he came with the name Blitz, but we already had another canine named Blitz in our department, so I changed him to Dozer.
I like Dozer.
Okay.
We have refreshments for you.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have a round for the
Thanks for having us.
Lieutenant Thompson had to leave on an emergency call, so he regrets that he can't say anything at the moment. And for the rest of us, we're going to have refreshments. Thank you very much.